And you have to start also engaging in more adaptive coping mechanisms and using various coping mechanisms, which means that we first identify that those negative affirmations are there. Now we got to do is we got to flip them. Okay. So it's like flipping pancakes. Your pancake is ready, right? You got the bubbles on the top. You're ready to boop, flip it right over. And when we flip it, what we're going to do is those negative affirmations, we're going to turn them positive. Now that can be really challenging because when we're programmed negative and reprogramming positive, we have to reframe it. And it's not so easy. You know, when you're trapped in a cycle of negative self-talk and you feel like you're struggling all alone, and the only thing you have is this voice in your head that's telling you how overwhelmed you are, how alone you are, how lost you are. Well, in this video, we're gonna talk about certainly identifying that, but also how to control it, manage it, and push back. While we also recognize that we don't have to keep encouraging it and just building that flame of negative affirmations in order to keep ourselves safe. So let's get into it. So negative affirmations are these negative beliefs that you have about yourself, and they reinforce these really harmful aspects of yourself. Maybe you're not that tall. Maybe you're not that fast. Maybe you're not great at math, whatever it is. These negative affirmations, what they do is that they over-focus on things that you are not good at. They identify these negative aspects of who you are, and they don't just do that, right? They have another part in which they shroud and minimize the things you're good at. And that becomes a problem because a lot of my clients, what they do is they internalize these negative affirmations so much so that they become part of our personality. And personality is really, it's a combination of prolonged behaviors, whether they're healthy or unhealthy, adaptive or maladaptive. So when we talk about negative affirmations, it's this cycle that people create inside themselves about how negative life is, how negative they are, about their failures, about who didn't love them, who didn't care about them, how everybody else has everything they want except that person. And then they end up engaging in maladaptive patterns driven by those negative affirmations, those negative things you say to yourself, right? Those negative beliefs that you have. And you actually end up increasing the probability of exactly what you're afraid of. And every mental health disorder really works in a paradoxical manner, right? In that depression is a great example. In that getting over depression, for example, you have to exert a lot of energy, but depression saps that energy. So how do you have the energy to deal with depression if depression saps the energy? Well, you have to realize how to take those small steps first. Well, negative affirmations are the same way, and they're absolutely a part of depression. So if it's hard to get up and do it, what we do is, and what I encourage my clients to do that are also dealing with depression and have negative affirmations, what we do is we say, okay, if you feel like you can't get up, what I want you to do is start exploring those negative affirmations. Explore those depression encouraging thoughts and behaviors. You don't have to do anything. Just kind of chill out there. Think about that and say, wait, is this thought, is this belief encouraging depressive features, my depression? Is it making my depression worse? Now let's add it to BPD. So if we look at BPD, to those thoughts that everybody's going to abandon you, and these are just kind of those classic core content areas that everybody's going to abandon you, that you're going to be rejected if you were to assert yourself in a situation, if you were to speak your thoughts, your wants, your desires, you're going to be rejected out of hand. Or is it this sense of emptiness? Is it this sense that you have this void inside you, and because of the negative affirmations, which distorts how you see yourself, others, in the world, that you believe that it's true? You believe that that emptiness inside you is validation of your worthlessness. It is not. It is absolutely not. And you have to push back on those things, is that we have to challenge those negative affirmations, recognize what they are and what they're causing. They're causing you to embrace your enemy, to embrace that unhealthy aspect of your life. And what we want to do is, I want you to let them go. Just let that negative aspect go. Easy to say, hard to do, right? It's easy to sit here and say, oh, well, just let it go. It's hard to do that, right? Which is why I've got hundreds of videos and books and stuff like that. And it's because this is challenging and it is hard. But recognize that a lot of negative affirmations are an over-focus on the negative aspects of your life. Not everybody's good at math. Okay. Not everybody's good at roller skating. Okay. Not everybody is good at whatever you want to add there. Doesn't matter. But what we want to do is focus on what you are good at. We want those positive affirmations to pop in. So we really need to be aware that those negative affirmations, what they do is they keep you locked out of seeing and embracing those positives. Everybody's got positives. Everybody's got a gift. Maybe it's not that you're a great singer. So what? Maybe it's that you're not a great bowler. I don't know, golfer, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. But what are you good at? And what you're good at, what I have found and what a lot of my clients have to contend with and deal with, is that they tend to think that what other people are good at has a higher value than what they're good at. And that can lead to a lot of problems. Again, not only does it reinforce these negative affirmations, it enhances the pain that you feel, that you hold inside about the sense of value, about who you are, about how much efficacy you have in your life, about how you're able to fill your emotional cup or not. And it reinforces and intensifies those mental health patterns, whether it's BPD, depression, NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, whatever it may be, because those negative affirmations can be so foundational and they can be a good place to start. And that good place to start is recognizing that these negative affirmations, they came out of somewhere. Maybe they came out of, you grew up with people that were highly critical, right? Or somebody that they thought they were encouraging you by pointing out the negative, right? You ever meet people like that? Like you'll do something really great, right? You'll make this great achievement and they say, okay, so you did this, but now you've got to go up to this level. And what that does, it actually minimizes the accomplishment. The person, they may think, oh, well, I'm really motivating this person because they've done something really great. Now they have this great ability. So I've encouraged them, and now they're going to be encouraged to go even further, but it doesn't. What it does is that it causes them over time, particularly, to dismiss their current success, what they've currently achieved. And instead, it causes them to look at, well, maybe this achievement isn't that great. Maybe what I did isn't that special. Maybe what I can do isn't that unique. And that opens the door to those negative affirmations. And it really causes an embrace of the fear that maybe I'm not really worth a whole lot. Maybe I can't do a whole lot. Maybe there's a reason why people don't love me or care about me or whatever it is. And we got to encourage that. That is a distortion, particularly those with BPD or a personality disorder, because remember, it's these prolonged behaviors. They become reinforced by how we see ourselves in our life. And the behaviors that we engage in encourage what we believe about ourselves. And this is why positive affirmations are so important, that they are actually pretty central to those who succeed and those who give up too early or those who don't try. Notice I didn't say fail, because I don't believe that we really fail unless we just stop trying. And never stop if it's something you really want. Like sometimes you may get into something that ain't that great, and you're like, boy, I thought this was gonna be really cool, but I really hate it, so I'm out. That's fine if you really hate it. But what we're talking about is something that you're driven by, something you've always wanted. Maybe you've always wanted to play guitar. Maybe you've always wanted to be a singer. Maybe you've always wanted to create art. Maybe you've always wanted to go back to school, whatever it is. It's finding those things and embracing those things. Those affirmations are going to come up, and maybe they're from somebody who did it to help you the best they could, whatever it may be. But the reality is, it's how you internalize it. Don't empower those overly negative people, particularly with those backhanded comments and compliments, where it's like, oh, well, that's good. Now you got to do such and such, right? Or, what a lot of my clients in the past have told me that they've received a lot of comments about like how they look, right? So it'll be like a new dress or something. And someone will say, wow, I never thought you'd fit into that dress. That's a backhanded compliment, right? Because what they're really saying is, wow, you are particularly overweight. I didn't think that you would fit in there, or you are awfully thin or whatever, unhealthily so perhaps, that you never fit into the dress, however it is, but it's based on your interpretation. And we can't allow that in there. You may have people in your life that are really pessimistic, and those pessimistic people, their comments go right to that negative affirmation. Whether it's purposeful or not on their part is irrelevant. Blame and shame gets us nowhere. So what we want to do is we want to focus on how you choose to internalize it, how you choose to manage the things that people say to you and what you're going to do about it. Because as I do with a lot of my clients, I want them to spit out the negative. And I've said that in other videos too. Start that spitting. Spit it out, because you don't need it. You don't. You got to start embracing that. And you have to start also engaging in more adaptive coping mechanisms and using various coping mechanisms, which means that we first identify that those negative affirmations are there. If you've been watching this video for this long, you know they're there. You know they're in your head. Now what we got to do is we got to flip them. Okay? So it's like flipping pancakes. Your pancake is ready, right? You got the bubbles on the top. You're ready to boop, flip it right over. And when we flip it, what we're going to do is those negative affirmations, we're going to turn them positive. Now that can be really challenging, because when we're programmed negative and reprogramming positive, we have to reframe it. And it's not so easy. And that's where a mental health provider can help you out a lot. With my clients, one of the things I'm always trying to get them to do is think more positively about the situations that they're in and exercising the energy in order to challenge those negative thoughts. I know they feel comfortable. I know they feel like that's your comfort zone, that it's this comfortable pillow, but it's not. It might look like that comfortable pillow. There's a lot of rocks in that pillow, and it's gonna be uncomfortable and it's gonna hurt. So, and I know you've been laying on that rock pillow for a really long time, so you're kind of used to it, but I want you to push back on it. Get up and get that fluffy pillow. It's going to take some time to get used to. Same thing. It's changing those negative affirmations to positive affirmations and using healthy, adaptive coping mechanisms in order to reinforce them, which means you're going to have to take some chances. I understand that chances are scary, right? Because especially if you're along the BPD spectrum or you have a personality disorder, that means that you've set up your thinking to reinforce the negative out of a lot of fear, shame, doubt, fear of abandonment, rejection, inferiority, whatever you're contending with. And I understand that. But it's important to find those adaptive strategies. And that's why a mental health provider can help you do it. Now, certainly you're welcome to look at my videos. I always try to give the positives. I always try to give some good coping resources for you. Also in the description, in the comments section, be sure that you leave some comments in there. What are some of your go-tos where you push back on those negative affirmations? People read those comments, they really do. But we're not done, because we got more to go. Because those negative affirmations, what we also want you to do is I want you to create that positive support network. Now, everybody, loves to kind of rip on the internet and social media and all this other stuff. And I mean, I have videos on it too about why it can be problematic and stuff like that. It can also be positive. Which means that if you're somebody who maybe wants a new social network, I encourage you to go to some meetups, find some things you're interested in, and don't talk yourself out of doing something healthy. You can't work against yourself anymore. You have to work for yourself. You have to be your own ally. You can't continue to be your own negative and your own enemy and hope that things are just going to turn around because of external forces, because it just doesn't work that way. Because the external environment, regardless of how it's set up, if it's been negative for so long, it's pretty likely that the people that are in your interpersonal circle, the people you're closest to, they may tend to skew negative. Or they may tend to be those people who think they're helping you by pointing out what you have to do next and kind of, pushing aside the accomplishments that you've made. And it can cause a lot of self-doubt, negative affirmations, and things like that. So we have to be able to embrace those positives, and we can't look externally. Now, for social support, you can get that. It starts internally, and then we want that reinforced externally. If we try to start it externally, like your friends, okay, I'm going to have positive friends, and they're going to say positive things to me, and then I'm going to start to feel positive. That's a tough way to go, because what happens is when those positive people say positive stuff to you, that volume is still too high. That volume of BPD, depression, NPD, whatever it is, it's still in your head. It's still convincing you that the pain, that the pillow, the rock pillow, is still where you deserve to be. So what's going to happen is you're going to reject those people saying, they're full of it. And you're going to really analyze everything they do and look for fault, how they're being dishonest, how they're not treating you right, whatever it may be, to find the negative. And that's a protective mechanism, but it also reinforces those negative affirmations. See, these just aren't negative things that you say to yourself, because as human beings, we are so adaptable. We adapt not only to the external environment, but to our internal environment too, to the internal world that we create. And we have to, if it's negative, we've got to reframe it positive. If you say what you can't do, I want you to push that aside. I want you to embrace what you can do. What can you do? Don't minimize the things you can do and say, anybody could do that. No, they can't. No, they can't. And I want you to embrace the things that you enjoy doing and build the skill in those things, because that's how we build confidence. That's how we build self-esteem. And that's how you confront and turn down those negative affirmations and you stop the pain. I'm going to put a link to a video here that is also about ways to sort of confront those negative thoughts and to really push back on that catastrophizing, because that's a big component too of it. So it's embracing that. I hope you found this video helpful about reframing it, but also check out this video on looking at those catastrophizing tendencies to do things differently. And I'll see you next time.